Welcome, everybody. I want to begin this meeting. Welcome to your Innovation Grants, Technology, Commerce, and Trade Committee. I'm joined by my colleague, Councilmember Krikorian. We do not have a quorum today, so this will not be an official meeting where we will be able to make a communication to the council, and we will hear the items in front of us. Since it's not a meeting, we will not have general public comment in terms of this, but we will hear comments on the items before us. So we have three folks who have put in cards for these items. We'll give them each 2 minutes to speak on the items. But as I mentioned, we will not have general public comment as this is a communication and not a formal meeting. So we'll start with Ms. Ramirez. If you would like to comment on the items before us, we have items 1 through 4. Ms. Ramirez, are you here? That's all right. If you want to take a minute and go with something, go ahead.
No general comments.
No general, because we do not have a quorum. It is not an official meeting in that regard.
Oh, okay, I see.
So we're not having general public comment. Technically, we don't even have to have any public comment, but we are going to hear these items, so I wanted to afford folks the opportunity to speak on the items.
Well, thank you very much, Council Member Blumenfield. Thank you. Item number 1, Los Angeles World Airports. I see a beautiful picture of Van Nuys Airport from 2015. I wish we could get an updated picture for the 2017. That would be nice. I'm very interested in the Van Nuys Airport as another facilitating airport to the LAX in case we do have some kind of a terrorist threat or we have some kind of a disaster at the LAX or other neighboring airports. We can have we could use the Van Nuys Airport as a landing or as another resource for small aircrafts, large aircrafts, military aircrafts, and helicopters. It is a vital and very nice airport with very competent pilots, of course. Pilots there are phenomenal, and I applaud all these pilots and military aviators. Having said that, number 2, our taxiways. Yes, let's enhance our taxiways at the LA International Airport and all airports. Again, the first priority should always be pilot safety, and pilot safety. And may they get all the benefits, rewards, and packages, health and dental, and all the other benefits that they deserve. These pilots deserve the best of the best. And again, we must cut down on all the wetbacks and the gangbangers. Thank you. And number 3, the airport commissioners, the Board of Airport Commissioners, we need to also work in conjunction with the United States Coast Guard to enhance the airports and the coastal areas as well as the Los Angeles airports. So we should also incorporate the United States Coast Guard because they are also part of the coastal areas, and they would also enhance the safety of the airports. And that's it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Spindler.
So good, we have another one.
Talking about this, rookie? The speaker is off topic. Moron, I'll bring it back fast,
Mr.
okay?
Spindler, it's time for you to make your not playing videos.
What happens? You take the money.
All right,
that's all about the Zuma dog talking about the airport, yo. So, I'm glad we're having another one of these 2-member illegal meetings because it's real nice, and I'd like to thank the 2 that showed up today, Bob Blumenfield and Uncle Corin from CD2. Yes, secretly backing Kiro Tarosian to take over CD7 behind the woods, yo. So now this fucking airport in Van Nuys needs to be torn down on item 1. This is the plan to tear down the Van Nuys airport and turn it into a cornfield. And yes, I support that. And then we get the taxiways for extension enabling. There ain't no goddamn taxis. Use Uber or use Lyft. Fuck the taxis. Then we get number 3, the LA World Airports. They brought that nice family from Afghanistan, and you held that family up and turned them over to ICE. So remember, don't go into LAX if you're an immigrant, because if you got a green card, you're going to be detained by the racist pigs at the city council through Los Angeles World Airports. Go to the Burbank Airport, go to the Ontario Airport, and don't go to LAX. If you're an immigrant, don't go to LAX. If you go to LAX, you will be arrested, you will be detained, and you will be deported. And that is from the personal experience of 22 fucking years of immigration work. LAX is ran by racists. Tear down that fucking racist fucking airport. And like Zuma Dog said, listen, Rocky, you're running an illegal meeting, Rocky. Listen, Rocky.
You're done. Thank you. Mr. Herman. Please.
Thank you, Zuma Dog. Thank you. Listen, rookies. Under item 1, World Airports Report, no one fucking cares about the World Airport. It's not a safe place. You heard Mr. Spindler's petition? Stay away. Stay away. Your families are not safe if you're an illegal immigrant in the United States. Trump. Then on item 2, which is Mr. Bonin, who's not even here to represent innovation, grants, technology, and commerce and trade. How many jackasses rode on a train? How many jackasses came on a plane? How many dumbasses rode on their bikes? How many of you rode on your skateboard? What a fucking moron you are, Bonin. Then going into item number 4, for Joe Blow Busquiano regarding the Harbor Commissioner's report relative to the Third Amendment. Fuck your Third Amendment. Fuck you. Because this is what the Supreme Court explained, that in our system of undifferential fear or apprehension of disturbance, it is not enough to overcome the right to freedom of expression. So Joe Busquiano, my vote for you is vote no. Fuck you, Joe, on item number 4, you stupid fuck. And then going to category number 3, item number 3, exemption of Board Airport Commissioner's report to the First Amendment. I just got through telling you about the First Amendment. Fuck you under the First Amendment, 42 U.S.C. 1983. And once again, the Supreme Court explained that our system of undifferentiated fear or apprehension in public meetings, making noises and disturbance is not enough. This does not overcome the right to freedom of expression other than Cohen versus California, U.S. So vote no on Measure S, vote no on Joe Busquiano, and anyone but that dick Garcetti.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we can actually start the meeting now. Or as much as we will. We'll move to item number 1. LAEDC, sorry for all that you had to hear here, and I'd like to invite Dr. Mitra from Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation to the table. Mr. Espinosa, if you'd read item 1 into the record.
Item number 1 is a report from Los Angeles World Airports relative to a 2015 economic impact analysis of Van Nuys Airport.
And we appreciate that you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So in 2016, the Los Angeles World Airports asked the LADC to quantify the economic and fiscal impact of Van Nuys Airport. So these are our results. We conducted the report in 3 parts. We looked at the annual operations in 2015. We examined the visitor spending associated with visitors arriving through Van Nuys into the local area, as well as the economic and fiscal impact of the capital improvement program. The direct activity we estimated included Van Nuys Airport's actual revenues, including job counts of all on-airport businesses from tenants, visitor data that was provided by the tenants, LAWA, as well as the Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Bureau, and the capital spending data that was provided by LAWA. And we used, the region of interest that we looked at was Los Angeles County, and we used input-output methodology to quantify the direct, indirect, and induced effects of the airport. In 2015, Van Nuys had 217,000 takeoffs and landings and 32,000 out-of-town visitors and $16.9 million in operating revenue. There's almost 5,300 jobs on the property with $331 million in direct labor income. This is in 2015. There was almost 1,200 foreign visitors that arrived through the airport and stayed at least one overnight and spent $2.4 million in the region. Almost 18,600 domestic passengers that arrived through the airport and stayed at least one night and spent $3 million. And 11,400 domestic day visitors that arrived through the Van Nuys Airport, spent the day and returned home, and they spent $741,000 in 2015. So when we quantified the operations of visitors, there was a total of almost 10,500 jobs that are supported by the airport in Los Angeles County, with $675 million in labor income and $2 billion in economic output, and this generates almost $125 million in state and local taxes. We also looked at the capital improvements program that LAWA has budgeted for the airport through 2022. This includes almost $60 million in airport ACIP projects and $5 million in non-ACIP IC projects. We also know that there's long-term tenants on site who spend dollars on improving their own areas. And so we didn't have that data available for us, so we estimated what would be the impact of incremental tenant spending on improving their own locations.
For 1 second.
Sure.
Mr. Spindler, could you please take the side conversation outside? I'm getting distracted. It's a small room. There's only a few people, and you're getting distracted by... I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Just take your conversation or your videos outside. It's distracting me. I'm trying to listen to Dr. Mitra. She deserves to be heard. Just, I don't care what the video is or what the conversation's about. I need you to stop distracting our conversation. Thank you.
Sorry, to go back, we have the tenants who improve their own hangar and rental spaces on site, and due to data limitations, we weren't able to quantify the entire impact, so we estimated what would be the impact of every $1 million spent by the tenants. So when we looked at the total economic impact of the LAWA projects, that would quantify annually 670 annual jobs in Los Angeles County with $37 million in labor income and almost $108 million in economic output and almost $5 million in state and local taxes. This is due to the capital improvement programs on site of Van Nuys Airport. And also for every $1 million in incremental tenant spending on capital improvement projects on site, that would support 10 annual jobs in the county with $583,000 in labor income and actually generate $1.7 million in economic output in the region and include $70,000 in state and local taxes.
Just curious on the jobs.
Yes.
Do you ever do a heat map of where those folks actually live? Do they live close to the airport? Do they live all throughout the city or outside of the city?
It's everybody that lives in LA County, actually. So we can do that. We would have to get the data from all the tenants and LAWA to provide the actual data for where they would actually live. But in general, based on other analysis, all these visitors, this is spending impacts in LA County. Yeah. So we can get that once we get that data. I was just curious.
I always hear a lot about the people who work there, and I'm curious where they actually live. If there's a heat map or something like that, I'd love to see that in the future.
Sure, that's a good. We can add that definitely. And we're actually quantifying the spending in LA County, so we would have to drill that down to the city of Los Angeles for the next report. Yeah. So, are there any other questions?
Yeah. So it took 11 months to do the report. Is that?
No.
Was there a delay on it, or
we got the data? We were actually working on it and finalizing it probably last summer.
Mm-hmm. And are there particular recommendations?
We just quantified the impact, the economic and fiscal impact, and the recommendations would be from LAWA if they want to quantify how important they are to the local region, which we believe generating $2 billion in output is very important.
Clearly, and it's an impressive report, and it is amazing how much how much output is happening there, what a jobs generator, what an economic generator
For such, yeah.
it is. I mean, it's a vital part of our economy in Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
Do you want
Mark Adams, Los Angeles World Airports. Yes, we go through this exercise every several years to and felt it was time to refresh the Van Nuys data, which is why we did this. There wasn't a particular motive in mind other than just we like to be aware of this information because the airport is such a vital resource to not just the valley but the city and the region as a whole. And you know, that, but there weren't any necessarily recommendations coming out of this report.
Okay. And capacity for the airport, we're keeping on par with the growth?
I'm sorry?
The capacity to grow is on par with where we see the growth?
Is it growing or?
No, like it's clearly growing.
Right.
But the capacity to continue the growth, there were no restrictions that were identified or that we need to worry about in terms of anything that's inhibiting.
Growth? No, not that we saw.
It's a good report, and we
Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
Thank
you. Thank you both. So next we'll go to item 2.
And will this item be noted and filed as a communication?
Yes, I'm sorry. This will be noted and filed as communication to be sent on to the council as a communication. The recommendation for note and file. And Mark, you might as well stay here for item 2, and Mr. Espinosa, if you want to read it into the record.
Item number 2 is the Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to a contract with RS&H California covering personal engineering design and construction administration services for taxiways and the taxiway projects in Los Angeles International Airport.
Good afternoon, Mark Adams, Los Angeles World Airports. This is the engineering portion of a project that we are about to embark on to redo 2 of our taxiways at LAX. It's about $130 million worth of work for the construction, but that'll be a subsequent contract that will be under consideration after the engineering group does the design work and that goes out to bid. So this is the contract for the design work and construction management once on the eventual construction contract.
Okay. And do you want to add anything?
Jim House, City Administrative Office. We reviewed the contract and recommend its approval.
Great. And the taxway improvement part, this is part of the settlement with ARTSAC? Or?
It's complementary to it. It's not the main part of the RSAC settlement. Most of the RSAC settlement was to deal with the taxi lanes right around the runways themselves. This is the parallel taxiway south, and so this is necessary work as part of that ultimate project, but this isn't the bulk of the work for the RSAC settlement. That's a forthcoming contract.
And RS&H was providing the construction administration. They're also involved in the RFP to secure the contractor?
There won't be it'll be a bid. It'll be just a straight bid contract based on the designs that RSH helps us put together.
Okay. And then there's a DBE commitment on this, right? 16%?
Right. This is a contract, because this is runway and taxiway work, we are going to be getting federal AIP, Airport Improvement Program grants, to reimburse us for a portion of this work. Because of that, we are using the federal DBE program, which there was a 15% goal and for the proposers, and RS&H committed to 16%, and a combination of 3 different firms, and we are, but it's we're pleased that they were able to be above that minimum, and look forward to making sure they uphold their commitment.
And is there, what's the leverage that we have in terms of that? Is it
because it's
enforceability?
Because it's a federally funded contract, we aren't able to put on a hammer, if you will, that we would for under our other programs. So it is a target, and we'll keep a close eye on them. And if they don't meet that 16% commitment, then they'll have to do some explaining, but we don't have a punitive penalty type arrangement under this contract.
Corey, any additional questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to recommend that we approve the CAO and LAWA recommendations here, and we send that on to council without objection as a recommendation of 2 committee members. Thank you. And then items 3 and 4 I was going to propose for consent, but why don't we read those into the record and make that as a formal proposition?
Item number 3 is the Board of Airport Commissioners report relative to the First Amendment to the contract with R.P. Lorraine and Associates covering on-call appraisal services for Los Angeles World Airports. And number 4 is a Board of Harbor Commissioners report relative to the Third Amendment to the agreement with Hecate Energy Harborside LLC to extend deadlines and insurance requirements.
So it's the recommendation of Mr. Krikorian and myself to approve these items. And I think that is our last item. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So this meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you very much.